The sun sagged low over the burning plains of Red Mesa, spilling molten gold across the desert, as the wind scraped over the land like a dull blade, carrying with it the scent of dust, sagebrush, and the faintest warning of a coming storm. And it was in that aching, lonely hour that Flint Maddox, one of the last old-style ranchers who still believed a man's word was worth more than iron, rode his black gelding along the barren trail, thinking only of getting home before nightfall, never imagining that fate was about to shove the weight of an entire new life into his hands. For as he crossed a bend in the road, his horse slowed, ears twitching, nostrils flaring at something ahead, and that was when Flint saw the shape, no, two shapes, lying in the sand near the base of a dying mesquite tree, and at first he thought it was just another traveler lost to the heat, another sad reminder that the desert didn't give second chances. But the closer he approached, the more the scene carved ice into his chest. A woman, pale and unmoving, her dress torn, her face streaked with the dust of a long fight against the inevitable, and beside her, a skinny little girl no more than 7, curled over the woman's body like a guardian angel who had been on duty long past her strength, her thin arms wrapped around the woman's chest as if the very act of holding her could drag her back to life. And Flint stopped his horse entirely, the dust settling around him like a curtain, because the sound that came from the child was not a cry. Not fully, more a strangled, dry, exhausted whimper, the sound of a soul that had no tears left to shed but refused to stop trying anyway. Flint slid off his horse, boots crunching in the hot sand as he approached slowly, not wanting to scare her, but the girl lifted her head anyway. And Flint saw the biggest, wildest, most terrified eyes he'd ever seen in his life, eyes that had seen too much, too soon. Eyes that had been forced to grow old before their time, and she clutched a ragged little doll to her chest with one hand while keeping the other on her mother's hair, as if someone might try to take her away. "Easy, kid," Flint said softly, removing his hat, because something about the moment demanded respect, demanded gentleness, demanded that he lower his voice the way he would near a wounded foal, and the girl stared at him with a mixture of fear and defiance that would have made a grown outlaw hesitate. But Flint wasn't here to hurt her, and somehow she knew it, because her lip trembled and her voice cracked as she whispered, "She won't wake up. I tried everything. She told me to stay with her, but she won't wake up." And Flint felt something inside him twist, something old and rusted and reluctant, but alive, and he knelt beside them, checking the woman's pulse, though he already knew there was none. The desert had taken her hours ago, leaving behind this little scrap of a girl who must have been guarding like it was her duty. Her mission, the only thing she had left in the world. "How long you been out here?" he asked gently, but the girl only shook her head, as if time had lost meaning, and her eyes flicked again to her mother's face with a desperation that stabbed Flint through the rib cage. Because he saw it, the refusal to let go, the refusal to accept what she already knew. He swallowed hard, stood up slowly, and scanned the horizon. No wagon, no tracks, no sign of shelter, just empty desert. Meaning whoever left them here didn't intend for either of them to survive. Anger simmered in Flint's stomach, thick and ugly, the kind that made his jaw clench and his hand instinctively check the revolver at his hip. But he forced the rage down because right now the girl needed something else entirely. He crouched again, leveling his voice with hers as he said, "What's your name, kid?" But she only tightened her grip on the doll, whispering hoarsely, "Mama said not to tell strangers." And Flint nodded slowly, respecting that, feeling something warm flicker in his chest, because even now, even after everything, the girl was trying to follow her mother's instructions. "Fair enough," he said quietly, "but I'm not leaving you out here." And she wouldn't want that either. And the little girl's lower lip began trembling again, a sob threatening at the back of her throat, but she fought it the way you fight a wave with cupped hands, and Flint realized she had been doing that for hours, maybe longer. He took a breath, stood fully, dusted off his hands, and said the words before he even knew he'd decided them. "You're coming with me, kid." Flint Maddox had not planned to change the course of his life that day, had not imagined that by nightfall his quiet ranch, his sanctuary of silence, cattle and long-earned solitude, would have a new heartbeat inside it. But as he rode across the darkening plains with the little girl wrapped in his worn buckskin jacket, her thin arms clutching his waist as though he were the only solid thing left in the world, he realized that destiny did not knock politely. It simply climbed into your saddle and shifted the weight of your entire life without warning, and every clop of his horse's hooves over the hard earth seemed to echo with the truth he had accepted the moment. He told her, "You're coming with me, kid." The desert air grew colder as dusk sank into full night, stars spilling across the sky like silver dust, and Flint kept one hand steady on the reins, and the other resting lightly on the girl's back, not to restrain her but to reassure her, because he could feel the tremors still running through her small frame. Exhaustion, grief, fear, maybe everything all at once. She had cried herself silent, her cheek pressed against his back, her breathing uneven from hours of holding tears. She no longer had the strength to release, and as they approached the ranch, Flint felt a strange knot in his chest, something between worry and